Daly.
Thanks, Concorla. I'll be brief. I agree with the points made that the reverence that's sort of displayed to judges is very unhealthy in any society that claims to be democratic. If you say anything or name a judge, you're almost accused of assaulting the independence of the judiciary. And we have to say that that approach is very similar to the approach that was prevalent in relation to the Gardaí up until recently. You never ever question the Gardaí. If you do, you're subjected to an account of how crime is falling, how guards are out laying their lives on the line every day, and you'd be almost thinking that you'd be responsible for shooting them yourself. And of course the reality is that there are very good guards out there laying their lives on the line, but those people, as every other citizen in society, needs a mechanism of accountability and transparency, and that really is the root of this. And a lot of the problems that are coming to the fore and that the dogs on the streets are talking about at the moment come from that political connection. The axis of power that exists between the Minister for Justice at the moment and the politically appointed Garda Commissioner. There is no doubt that the very brave and well-documented complaints of the Garda whistleblower Maurice McCabe were brought to the Minister. Now, I know that the Minister discussed that issue with the Commissioner. He didn't do nothing. He discussed it with the Commissioner. And the Commissioner said, don't mind that fella, he's a serial complainant, he's a bit of a nut, nothing to see here, move on. And we are where we are today as a result of that close connection between those two individuals in an appointment by the Minister of that Commissioner beyond what any previous Garda Commissioner has had. Now, a judge at the end of the day is a person. What makes them different is the powers that they have on becoming a judge. And I think it's interesting that the government have chosen to appoint a paper review of GSOC, not of the surveillance and who was responsible, but of GSOC's handling of the recent situation. And they just happened to put a judge in it. But they might have put me on it, or the postman or whatever, because that person isn't being given any judicial powers. And there is a difference there, and I think that is very unhelpful of the government in that regard. I think it's gas that a number of deputies are relying on a publication owned by a billionaire supporter of the government who has clear political views to support their arguments in this debate about political affiliations of judges. Everybody is political. I believe everybody has a right to be a member of a political party if they're mad enough to choose to do so, but that's not really the issue here. The issue here is that we need a mechanism to ensure that people are appointed on merit and not because of their political views or their membership of political parties. And the reality is there have been absolutely appalling decisions made in our courts, ones that have really damaged people in a very, very severe way. Now, I don't know, and I have no examples of where that was done, except possibly the case of Father Niall Malloy referred to by the other deputies, where it was done for reasons of political influence. But there has to be a reason that they were done because of incompetence or for some reason, and maybe it was because the best people weren't appointed to the jobs. Horrendous cases of violence against women where judges have given appalling sentences that any right-minded citizen would object to. No right to recall or do that. It's a fact that a number of judges were the beneficiaries of the termination of multiple penalty points and sat in judgment on other drivers then and served them up penalties. That's unlawful in my opinion. There is a problem with the system. I'm aware, my last point, Chair, I'm aware of a complaint at the moment with the President of the District Court about the criminal behaviour of a judge who tried to use his position to encourage somebody not to make a complaint against a senior Gardaí. That case isn't being treated appropriately. We don't have time to deal with it. This is about nobody being above the law, about everybody being accountable. And in the same way as now it is appropriate to talk about bad behaviour of priests, now it is acceptable to talk about Gardaí, now it is acceptable to talk about politicians. Judges have to be in that category as well, because there's a difference between the administration of the law and the delivery of justice, and people want justice.